Okay, so I'm having trouble figuring out how many microsteps I want the CNC machine to move. So this is kind of me working through it and sharing it with you, so maybe it will help you as I help myself. So the first thing I wanted to do was figure out how far the machine moves per revolution. So I set up my little Redneck contraption here so I can see that by turning this one revolution I can watch how many millimeters my vernier caliper moves. Then I just have to keep an eye on that as I come around to one full revolution. I got it lined up here by sight. So, I mean, it's not 100% accurate, but I did it a few times and it got me in the 5 millimeter range. So now I know that the machine moves 5 millimeters per revolution. So next thing is I can microstep it. And there's a lot of videos on people figuring out how many microsteps, so you can watch their videos on that. I'm not going into all that. I just did some quick math and figured out that the resolution is what I'm concerned with. So how accurate do I want to make it? Do I want 800 steps for 5 millimeters? So I got to do a little more math here to figure out how many millimeters per step that is. Oh boy, my brain's starting to hurt already. Hang on, I'll be right back. Sorry, some of my old numbers won't come off the whiteboard, but I did some quick math, and at 5 millimeters at a quarter step, that's 800 steps per revolution. Divided by 5 is 160 steps per millimeter. So half stepping is 80 steps per millimeter. I think 160 sounds better. 160 parts of a millimeter. I know there's more math. I can figure out how many microns that is. But 320 steps per millimeter sounds a little excessive. So I think I'm going to go with the quarter steps. So on my own little microstep driver here, if I want to go quarter step, we just have to flip some dip switches. So I'm going to make those changes and then recalibrate the Mach 3 and see where we're at. I think that's going to work out. Okay, so by our math, we in Mach 3 went to config, and we went to motor tuning, and we put in 160 steps because mathematically that's what 5 millimeters figured out to be, right? So I've been doing the calibration, and 160 steps was pretty close. So I've run it a couple of times, and so the 160 will put you in the ballpark, and then, well, at least with the configuration of stuff that I have, and then by going to settings and set steps per unit, and then you can see I had the ruler set on 0. We'll hit the set steps per unit. We'll hit the y-axis, and we'll say 380 steps, 380, hit enter, and the machine will go. I will ask vision, I need the bright light, and you can't see it with the camera. Perfect. We can see it's right on the money. Now I know you're saying, what's this 39? Well, yeah, I started at 10 because I could see the 0 better. So the mechanical difference from the mathematical difference is minimal. So what are you doing? Are you going to make signs and cribbage boards? Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So is within a millimeter close enough? Probably. So if you go with the quarter step with a 5 millimeter per rotation ball screw, that will give you the 160 steps per millimeter to figure it out. So I think I'm good. It sounds happy when I scroll it. When I move the machine, she sounds happy. Ooh, when I dig it into the desk like that, and motor tuning was just kind of by ear. I went, let's see, configure, motor tuning. I knew it was the 160 steps per millimeter. I just set the velocity at 2300 because it felt right. And the acceleration I put at 200. I played with it. I went up to 500 and down to 150, and 200 just seemed to not shake the table so bad and seemed to work right. And that's got me in the ballpark, I think. I think I'm doing pretty good. So hopefully this helped you figure it out. Anyways, that's all for now. Till next time, microstepping the redneck way.